In my teens, I was growing up in the Chicago suburbs, and that's where I learned how to drive. The first car I bought was a Studebaker Avanti. It was a fiberglass sports car, supercharged from the factory, and I learned to love speed. By the time I was 30, I had totaled out 3 cars. After 30, more tickets, more accidents, and I literally terrorized the roads.
In the middle of Chicago, on a highway, it was so bad when he was driving that I was ready to have him, let me get out and I'll walk.
About 22 years ago, my neighbor wanted me to start this driving company with him. And I didn't think I would be happy teaching teenagers how to drive, especially since I had my own unique way of driving. He was persistent. He kept asking and asking, and he worked for a large trucking delivery company, one of the major companies in the United States. And his team developed a system of driving that reduced the company's accident rate by 70%. When he retired, he wanted to start a teenage driving company because #1 killer of teens is auto accidents. And he had a passion to keep these kids alive. And so he brought the training to the teenage scene and really made a difference. And so in that year, I caught on to that passion.
It was probably one of the first classes, honestly, that he did catch that vision, because that's when you realize, when you've got the kids in front of you, and you realize these are somebody's children. And what you teach them is just critical, not just for knowledge now and not just so that they can get their license, but these are lifelong skills. And hopefully they'll be able to pass them on to their kids. Hopefully their kids will come to Jungle, which should be happening soon because they've been in the business now for 21 years.
And the reputation of Jungle kept coming out over and over and over from friends we spoke with whose kids had gone through. Once our first came through, there was never any question we were going to look elsewhere. My oldest is 31, so she came through she had already turned 15. And in all fairness, my middle child, who has special needs, got her license in August of last year. And it was thrilling. And she's been doing great because of this place and because of that man.
Hey Fred, want to know how my driver's test went today? I passed!
Woohoo!
It keeps me going. That's a reward that not many people get in their livelihoods. So that's something I'll never forget.
The Jungle kept coming up occasionally, and it was such an interesting name. It was intriguing to me. And then I began to just see a pattern of the students from Jungle just were more confident and weren't as nervous and seemed to do better than on average others. As an examiner, you can usually tell by the first 2 or 3 turns out of the lot how it's going to go for the rest of the time. And when I see an applicant with Jungle driving, I am not as anxious about what's this drive going to be like. It helps me to just be more confident and almost look forward to the appointment more. I'm excited for them.
I was going to say, it's been interesting watching the business evolve, but it hasn't evolved in that they nailed it from the beginning for the curriculum.
I love the idea that they bring the teaching down to their level using the alligator alley and the different words, which made my children remember them.
They really put a lot of thought into it, into the development, and they nailed it, which is amazing.
And so we would have these Jungle conversations as we were driving.
So the parents have to reinforce what's taught at Jungle, otherwise it's all for naught.
The funny things about Jungle, right? The identification of, well, that's an alligator. And to be able to immediately say, instead of to the practice driver, watch out for the car that might pull out in front of you, they're sitting. If you just said alligator, immediately they knew what to watch for. Having that kind of language, okay, butt sniffer is the fun one. To be able to say, do not tailgate, don't be that person. Having that kind of language was nice, and it did remind us of get there safely. Don't weave in and out of traffic. Don't try to beat the light. Don't do those things that can create hazards for other people.
We had a blinking yellow and we got hit head on. When I got in the accident, I was not driving, but I was in the hospital for about 7 days and I was incubated for 5 days, finally woke up. Just things happened so quickly.
Making my head checks, so when I'm changing lanes, I look behind me to make sure there's no cars.
That speed kills. My mom says it every day to me, speed kills, so.
Like the amount that you can learn in these 3 weeks, it's just so cool how you can learn that much. It's not really something that you can take for granted because you're gonna be driving like your whole life.
Your life can change instantly without you really knowing it.
Those laminated sheets that I hope you guys still hand out, those were very beneficial. I probably still have 5 laminated sheets. And my son, who's gonna be 37, recited half of it to me this morning on the phone.
I mean, these are life skills that they really need to be passed on.
I mean, the kids loved us. And I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than to see the progress of people, young or old. And that's just one of the things that keeps us doing what we're doing.
I would love to see this duplicated across the nation to help keep those kids alive and just to keep the families intact. So, we've had 2 children pass away, our oldest and our youngest. Neither was due to a car accident. Both were health issues that the doctors couldn't stay ahead of. And I can tell you that bearing children is probably one of the hardest things in life. And we don't want that for other people.
It affected our family, our whole family, not just his mother and I, but his sisters, his friends. When somebody dies from an auto accident, I don't care if it's a teen or an adult, it affects the whole family. And not just the immediate family, but there are a whole lot of people that are affected by it. And out of 35,000 kids that went through our program, we've had a few. There's one young lady that really affected me. I knew her mother when her mother was just a young child.
And we know that there's no way that we can prevent it all the time. But even if it's just a few times, that makes it all worth it. So, what I would like to see is for this to go nationwide. As many locations open as possible, with them keeping in mind the mission. Don't look at it solely as a business, look at it as the mission. It's bigger than just a business.